It's brutal. Like this morning I woke up and it's just like no hot water and I just wanted to cry.
Anyone who does not have heat or hot water, if you don't have heat or hot water today, call right now to 311 so we can try and get you help now. Anytime you're talking about cold temperatures like this, you have to be worried about people who are out for any reason. Just people going about their normal business. The cold can really catch up with them very quickly. That's why people have to be reminded, if you go outside, do it for as little time as possible.
Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Jenna Flanagan. As temperatures drop and New Yorkers face record-breaking cold, thousands living in New York City public housing go without heat and hot water again. Cold, outraged, and fed up with NYCHA and its long and tainted track record, tenants and city officials are eagerly seeking answers. But the government shutdown that heavily impacts the federal level has frozen all talks of a solution, leaving negotiations between City Hall and federal officials over the fate of the embattled agency at a standstill, and tenants once again out of luck and in the cold. And joining us, as always, with the update is Ellis Hennigan. Ellis, thank you so much for joining me.
Happy New Year to you.
So first, let's start off with the cold, because everybody is feeling it.
It's cold, by the way.
It's very, very cold. But for the people who are in NYCHA housing, they're really, really left out in the cold.
Well, if you don't have any heat, yeah, it's rough in those apartments. Some people are able to boil water on the stove and huddling around in the kitchen. But yeah, it was a tough weekend.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is something that we saw happen last year, where we saw numerous tenants who were stuck in apartments that didn't have heat and hot water. Then we found out there were issues with the boilers, etc. Has the agency made any movement to keep people warm this winter?
Well, let's just concede that NYCHA is a mess.
Okay.
Okay, years of inadequate investment, maybe a little bit of corruption and mismanagement to go along with it, of fights with Washington has left those facilities struggling, right? And you're right, the heat and hot water is one of the issues. Lead and mold have also been a persistent problem there. Mm-hmm. And right now, the federal government is threatening to take over the system, which would mean that actually Washington would run the housing of 400,000 New Yorkers. We're negotiating right now between the city and the feds, trying to figure out whether there's some way around that formal takeover.
Well, that brings me to the next great point of how much negotiating are we actually doing, considering the federal government is closed?
Oh, did you notice that?
Yeah, everybody's starting to feel that.
Well, among those who are not working right now are 95% of the employees of HUD, the Housing and Urban Development Department in Washington, which oversees public housing across the country. So yes, those talks that were roaring along before Christmas have now pretty much ground to a halt, and they're staring at a January 31 deadline. Secretary Ben Carson saying if there's no deal by then, he's going to come in and take over the entire system.
But yet we don't know if there's any negotiations that are actually able to happen, considering the fact that the government is closed.
Well, not much is going on this week, apparently.
NYCHA is just one of the many pains that we're seeing, and actually is starting to ripple throughout the entire economy.
It is. You know, many of the federal employees and the contractors who are either not working or at least not being paid do things that the public doesn't see every day, right? They're clerks in offices, and while the work is often very important, we don't necessarily see the consequences of it on a daily basis. I keep my eye on the airports. I mean, that is an area, those TSA employees, and God, start thinking about those air traffic controllers as well, in there working. When they start not showing up in large numbers, and it seems like those numbers are creeping up, that is something that is both dangerous in terms of our safety, a concern in terms of terrorism, and really does have economic impact. I keep my eyes on that.
Well, we do have, I believe, this Friday, if there's no deal, there will be another missed paycheck. Right. And we're not just talking about people who are just calling in sick with, say, oh, I can't come in. People who are saying they have actual issues, I can't afford transportation, I can't afford childcare, like, these are very serious problems.
Well, I don't know about you, but most of us don't have big, fat savings accounts ready to bail us out at moments like this, right? I mean, we live paycheck to paycheck, we count on that money, and even though in the case of the federal employees, they're likely to get that money eventually, you know, it's hard on the cash flow. And don't forget the contractors, many of whom will never get repaid for the time they've missed.
Let's pivot to one of the people, or perhaps the architect of this shutdown, and that is President Trump.
Well, I don't see much progress being made there, right? As you know, the president came out over the weekend with with a proposed deal that has, so far at least, essentially generated no support from Democrats who are saying,
or conservatives. He got some pushback from hardline conservatives.
He did get some, so he's in a bit of a squeeze there, right? On the right, they're calling it amnesty. On the left, they're saying, why should we trade temporary relief on DACA for a permanent wall? It doesn't even really seem to have provoked much actual negotiation.
All right, well, moving on to a different move by this current administration, let's say, and that was the ban for transgender members of the military. And we understand that the Supreme Court recently decided, as early as this morning, to let that at least temporarily go into effect.
Yeah, you're absolutely right to emphasize temporarily, because that issue is winding its way through the federal court system, getting somewhat disparate results in different places. What the court did today, essentially, on another 5-4 vote, right, exactly along party lines, reminding folks that often the Supreme Court does behave like the third house of Congress, just another political operation, that the ban that the president is seeking can go into effect temporarily while this thing inches its way through the courts. Big victory for the administration.
But of course, we'll see how this plays out with actual rank and file members of the military, several of whom are trans and are actually serving, kids who might be considering enrolling, etc.
Yeah, it's complicated because you have some transgender individuals in there already. You're going to yank them out. You're going to send them home. They're at various ranks in the organization. You're going to just say no new ones can come in. The actual mechanics of instituting a ban like that are real complicated.
And of course, and it's the actual doing of a lot of these policies that seems to be where a lot of the hurt and the trauma seems to be. But listen, I want to thank you so much for joining us. There was a lot that we had to get to. We didn't even get a chance to get really that deep into it.
And almost all of it is undone. Do you notice that?
Yes, yes. I feel like
undone
that's,
stuff,
yeah, there's a lot of, there's a theme right now to the beginning of 2019, but we will keep watching. And Alice, please come back.